Welcome back. You've almost completed the Get Hired program series. Do you remember way back at the start of this series, we talked about what a typical recruitment process looks like? To remind you, first, a job is advertised. Second, you apply with your resume and most often a cover letter as well. You wait and wait. You might be asked for an interview or two. You might be asked to complete some recruitment assessments. You might be asked for your referee or your references. It's usually a pretty good sign. And you might be offered the job. Now, you've prepared for most of these steps throughout the program now. You have a great resume. You have a convincing cover letter template that you can adapt and use over and over. And you have some ways to prepare for interviews. But there are a few more little things I want to share with you to support you in your job search. So here's what we're going to go through in this final session. First, we're going to talk about tailoring your resume and cover letter to suit each job ad. Then we're going to look at some options of how to keep track of your applications. We'll talk some more about recruitment assessments. We'll talk about dealing with the disappointment of when you receive a rejection or a no thanks. And also what to do if it's a yes. What do those next steps look like? Let's talk some more about tailoring your resume and cover letter. I know we've spoken about this throughout the other sessions, but a quick reminder here of just how important it is to tailor your resume and cover letter to suit each and every job that you apply for. In your resume, there's a couple of quick and easy ways to do that. So you may want to review and adjust, firstly, your career aim, just to make sure it closely fits the job that you're applying for. Use some of the similar words or terminology and make sure that it's really clear that you're looking for the type of job that they're offering. You may also want to reorder your skills and strengths so that the most relevant ones are at the top of the list. Now, in your cover letter, of course, you're going to adapt much of that to suit the application. And the most important part is the table. So make sure you delete the contents of that table each time so that you address the specific selection criteria that relates to the job that you are actually applying for. Sometimes you can take inspiration from previous letters you've written. However, you want to make sure that this letter is clearly tailored to the specific job ad. Next, let's talk about keeping track of your job applications. Now, you will likely be applying for a number of similar roles at the same time, and it is so easy to confuse the jobs. But if a recruiter calls and talks to you about a job or asks you for an interview, you certainly don't want to seem confused or unsure about which job it is that they're calling about. A bit like the poor lady in the image in the bottom right of this slide. So I recommend you keep a folder or a logbook or a computer file that you have easy and quick access to with the job ad, your cover letter, the date you applied for the role, and make sure that the recruiting manager's name and contact details is easy to spot. Now, you can add notes to that file if you've had conversations with them over the phone, and that way, each time they call, you can remember what was said and for which job it was for. Now, one of the other things that might happen as part of the recruitment process is you might be invited to complete one or more online recruitment assessments. Now, these are usually quizzes that you can do on the computer that give a recruiter some more insight into your personality, behaviour preferences, values, strengths, your capability, might be a capability with reading, writing, or numbers. Now, often you can do them at home, but sometimes they might invite you to an office space to do them. Now, I want to stress here, they are nothing to worry about. In fact, I find them quite fun. So just take a deep breath, ask questions if you don't understand, have a go, and trust your instincts. Often your first thought is the best answer for you. Now, a little note about dealing with disappointment. Now, most people will have to apply for quite a number of jobs before they get one, sometimes a really large number. So disappointment is a completely normal part of job searching. Now, if a recruiter decides you're not a good fit for the role, they might notify you via email, through a job board that you applied through, or by phone. Or sometimes they won't even notify you at all. You'll just never hear back from them. I know it's not good practice, but sadly it happens a lot. Now, when you receive that notification that you haven't been successful, it's very normal to feel disappointed. You might feel rejected or worry that you're not good enough. Most of us do, to some degree. But I want you to remember this. That job was not for you. And there is one that better suits your skills, strengths, and interests out there. Now, it's okay if you want to sit in that disappointment for a short period of time. We're all allowed to feel a little bit sorry for ourselves for a little while. But then take a few deep, slow breaths and say some kind things to yourself. And a bit later, when you're feeling calm again, see if there's anything you can learn from that experience, anything you might try differently next time. You could even ask the recruiter to provide you with some feedback to help you next time. So in short, we honour our emotions by letting us feel them for a little while, but then we breathe and we do some self-care strategies. We see if there's anything we can learn from this experience, and then we try again. It's really important to look after yourself emotionally, mentally, and physically whilst job searching. So talk to your support people, your friends, and your family. We're all here to support you. Now, I want you to imagine. Close your eyes to do this if you feel comfortable. Take a few deep, slow breaths. Now, remember that job advertisement you chose, that you wrote a cover letter for and you did a pretend interview for? Pretend you actually did attend an interview for that role and you really liked the people that you met. They were smiling and friendly and encouraging, and you really liked the sound of the job. You're sure that you could do it. And now you're back at home, sitting on the couch, waiting to hear back from the recruiting manager. You hear your phone ring. You don't recognise the number. Hello? You say nervously. Hello, says the recruiting manager that you met yesterday. I'm calling to offer you the job. What do you do? How do you feel in that moment? Open your eyes. Now, did you feel elated? Did you feel proud? Did you feel thrilled? Still a bit anxious, perhaps? Stoked? Perhaps a little bit like Emily in this picture. In that moment, you might feel so many emotions all at once. All your hard work in job searching has paid off. Now, apart from just celebrate, here are a few things to try and find out. So, is there an employment contract that you need to review and sign? Now, if they're providing an employment contract, it's a really good idea to have a trusted friend or support person review this with you. What's the pay rate, if you don't already know? When would they like you to start? And does that fit in with your needs? What's the dress code? Is there anything else that you might need to do before your first day? Now, if you're anything like me, you might be too excited to remember all of that in the moment if they've just offered you a job. So just make sure you say thank you and let them know that you appreciate the offer. And make sure you have their contact details so you can ask these important questions later. And if all of their answers line up with your needs, then say, yes, I accept, thank you. And then celebrate.
I hope you found this program really useful and that you're finishing it feeling really proud of all that you've got to offer in a job. And also that you have increased confidence about your applications and also how to interview really effectively and ultimately to get hired to do a job that you really love. So thank you, Flagstaff, for inviting me to share this knowledge with you. Thank you to Emily and Chris for helping throughout this program. It's been a pleasure to work with both of you. And thank you to all of you for committing to this learning, for being curious and courageous, all great qualities that recruiters like me are looking for. So I wish you all the very best with your job searching.